Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here or a returning viewer, my name is Sarah. You can find me anywhere on Sarah of Horror, and here on my channel I review movies, TV shows, and other things I find interesting to talk about. And today I will of course continue with the Slashuary reviews, and it's another one from the 2000s. So in this episode I will be talking about Midnight Movie. Midnight Movie. It's from 2008. It's directed by Jack Messett, starring Rebecca Brandis, Daniel Bonjour, Greg Cyrulnik, Stan Ellsworth, and Bria Grant. So in this one, we have a few people who works at the cinema, and they are all watching this horror film from the 1970s, and everything quickly turns to chaos when the killer from that movie actually comes to life and starts killing everyone. So when I was going through the slasher movie list, I found this one, which I had never heard of before, and I was very intrigued by the plot, by the name, by the concept, and I just had to watch it. So the first thing is I really like the location of a cinema used in horror movies. We've seen it a couple of times before, so that is mainly what drew me in. And I think they picked just the right location. And the concept is pretty fun. You know, watching this killer on this film come to life. So I thought it was unique enough and that it stands out enough to at least draw some initial interest. Of course, we get to know the characters, and then I was looking at Bria Grant and I was like, I recognize her. And this was in 2008. And I was like, okay, I have to look her up. And I was like, oh, it's Bria Grant, of course. So it was fun watching her in this one. She plays someone who works at the theater, at the cinema. And yeah, we have a lot of characters that also comes there. And also the police are looking for this killer on a hunch. So there's a lot of people to kind of keep track on, and some are kind of cliche, and some are like the opposite of cliche, which I found very refreshing. And the acting is very hit and miss in this one, but I think Brea did a good job with what you had. And the main characters, they were okay. Their story interesting enough and their characters interesting enough to at least get some attention from me. And then also we have the killer's tool. In slasher movies that's very important, and this weapon is very different from a lot of the other slasher movies that I have seen. And yeah, don't know really what it's called, but it was a very weird looking, and I was very intrigued by the look of that weapon, and it did cause a lot of damage. And some scenes had a little bit of gore. There were some bloody scenes, but I wished it would have incorporated even more of it. Really go like full in with that weapon. There was like one scene where the killer was slashing the victim with this weapon, which I really liked. But I wished it had been used like even more. It could have been so gnarly and nasty, but I don't think it pushed that envelope enough. And then we have the movie within the movie that they are watching, this horror movie from the 1970s. And you could kind of feel that it was not a movie from the 1970s. And also it was like black and white, so maybe that was an attempt to make a better look or feel for that particular film. It was so and so, but it was fun with where they incorporated what was happening in that movie to what was happening in reality, like in the theater. So I do kind of like the cross-cutting between those two worlds. The killer is not the most memorable, but still it's a fun killer. It was a fun idea. And as I said, the concept was really good. And also, I had never heard of this film before. So I do think that we need to talk about it some more. Like, spread the word. It's definitely an okay viewing as a first-time slasher movie if you're just in the mood for a slasher movie. But like overall, it kind of loses towards the end a little bit. And like the third act isn't as strong as I would have hoped it to be. But I still enjoyed myself. And I wasn't bored at all. And also, I did like the intro scene when we get to know a little bit more of a certain character. And I liked the location in which the film started. And then we moved on to the cinema, and which was kind of fun. I just love the whole atmosphere going to the cinema, everything there, the popcorn, the registers, the people, and the whole movie loving vibe there. And also, we get to see the use of like reels, like movie reels. And there was one scene where they incorporate this quite cleverly because they kind of came up with something of how they could try to defeat this killer. And I really liked that idea and the incorporation of the movie reel itself. Because I remember when I was in movie school for film production, I actually got to film with like a real camera that had like movie reels where you had to actually take all of that out and manually switch, but not in the sunlight. It had to be like in complete darkness. So it was a little bit tricky, but I did it, and I also filmed with one, which was a very cool experience. And I just love movie reels. And when you look at these little boxes, little reels, and you can actually see what's going on in the film through them, I think that is very like comforting. And I like that they had this in the film in some parts. So overall, the story was okay. I thought it could have been better towards the end. Characters were also okay, but as I said, the concept was fun. Some of the kills were very fun, and I enjoyed myself. So, what do I give Midnight Movie? I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Yeah, so a 6 out of 10 to Midnight Movie. And if you've seen this film, please let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the film. And of course, like, subscribe, and comment something for the algorithm. And next week, I'll be back with a very special review. I've been wanting to see this documentary for a very long time now. Very long, but a while, a while now. And I've gotten the opportunity to do so. And I am very thrilled that I'll be able to review and talk about that documentary next week. So I hope you're looking forward to that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!